I died for 4 minutes. Not figuratively, not in some dramatic story kind of way. My heart actually stopped. I was 79 years old, lying on a hospital floor in Cincinnati, and the last thing I remember thinking was, I never told her enough times. That's it. That was my last thought before everything went dark. Not my career, not my house, not a single thing I'd spent 30 years working for. Just her face, and the words I kept saving for later. I'm 81 now, and I've been sitting with what happened in those 4 minutes ever since. I don't talk about this much. My daughter thinks it'll upset me, but I'm telling you today because somebody needs to hear this before it's too late for them, before they end up like I did, lying on a cold floor, realizing too late what actually mattered. So if you have 2 minutes right now, please stay with me. My name doesn't matter, but my years do. I was born in 1943 in a small town in rural Kentucky. We didn't have much. My father worked the mines 6 days a week and came home too tired to speak. My mother raised 4 kids on whatever was left over after the bills. I learned early that you work hard, you keep your head down, and you don't complain. That was the whole philosophy. I joined the Army at 19, served 2 years, came back quieter than I left. Met Margaret at a church social in 1966. She was 22, I was 23. We were married 11 months later. 53 years together. 53 years. I worked in industrial engineering for most of my career. 31 years with the same company. Watched it downsize twice. Survived both cuts. We raised 2 kids. Lost 1 pregnancy in between that we never really talked about out loud. That silence sat between us for years. I've buried my parents, my older brother Gene, 2 close friends. I've had 2 heart surgeries before the one that took me for 4 minutes. So when I tell you I've lived long enough to know something, I mean it. I'm not guessing about life. I've used most of it up. The morning it happened was completely ordinary. That's the part nobody warns you about. It wasn't a dramatic day. No storm outside. No sign from the universe. It was a Tuesday in March. I had oatmeal for breakfast, read the newspaper, argued with Margaret about whether we needed a new water heater, an argument about a water heater. That's what we spent that morning on. She left to visit her sister around 10, and somewhere around noon, I felt something strange in my chest. Not pain exactly, more like pressure, like someone was sitting on me slowly. I made it to the kitchen, reached for the counter, and that was it. The paramedics said my heart stopped for 4 minutes and 18 seconds before they got it going again. 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Now here's the thing I need you to understand. Before that morning, I thought I was doing everything right. Paid the bills on time, never missed a day of work, provided for my family, stayed faithful, stayed responsible. I thought being a good man meant being a reliable man. So I was reliable. I showed up. Every single day, I showed up. But somewhere in all that showing up, I stopped being present. Margaret would talk to me at dinner, and I'd be somewhere else in my head, still running through work problems, still carrying the office home in my chest. My son Daniel called me once from college, just to talk. No emergency, no reason, just wanted to hear my voice. I kept that call under 7 minutes because I had a report due. 7 minutes. He needed his father, and I gave him 7 minutes. I didn't understand what I was doing then. I thought I was being responsible. I was just being absent with good excuses. And the worst part? Margaret knew. She never said it directly. That wasn't her way. But sometimes at night she'd reach for my hand in bed, and I'd already be asleep, or pretending to be. I don't know which is worse. So let me tell you what those 4 minutes taught me, what dying, even briefly, does to a man's priorities. The first thing I learned is that busyness is not the same as living. I was busy for 30 years, constantly moving, constantly producing, constantly solving the next problem. And I confused that motion with meaning. My granddaughter Emma asked me once to teach her how to fish. I said, "Soon, sweetheart. Grandpa's got a lot going on right now." She asked me 3 more times over 2 years. I never took her. She stopped asking after that. She didn't make a scene. Kids don't. They just quietly stop asking. And that quiet is the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. Don't be busy when the people you love are asking for you. Nothing in your inbox is worth what you'll lose. The second thing, stop keeping score in your marriage. I spent years tracking who was right, who apologized last, who gave more, who sacrificed more. Margaret and I had a fight in 1987 that we technically never finished. We just buried it. And it sat under everything for years, like a stone under a floorboard. You could feel it if you knew where to step. I was so focused on being right that I forgot I was supposed to be her partner, not her opponent. Don't keep score. You're on the same team. Third, say the words out loud while you still can. I loved Margaret deeply, but I showed it mostly through doing things, fixing the car, handling the finances, making sure the roof didn't leak. I thought that was love, and it was a kind of love, but she needed to hear it. Simple words. I'm proud of you. You made my life better. I don't say this enough, but thank you. I said those things maybe a handful of times in 53 years. A handful. Don't assume the people you love know how you feel. Say it. Say it plainly. Say it today. Fourth, your health is not something to negotiate with. I ignored warning signs for years. Chest tightness, fatigue, shortness of breath climbing stairs. My doctor told me to slow down in 2008. I slowed down in 2019. On a kitchen floor. Don't wait for a crisis to take your body seriously. It will eventually make the decision for you, and it won't ask for your input. Now I need to tell you about the 4 minutes. I haven't talked about this with many people. My doctor knows. My daughter Karen knows pieces of it. But I've never said it out loud like this before, so bear with me. When my heart stopped, it wasn't darkness exactly. It wasn't nothing. I know how that sounds. I know some people will roll their eyes. That's okay. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just telling you what I experienced. There was light, but not blinding, not dramatic. More like the way light looks on an early morning in October. Soft, quiet, like the world just woke up and hasn't started being loud yet. And I wasn't alone. I felt presences. I don't know how else to say it. Not figures, not voices, just the unmistakable feeling that I was surrounded by people who loved me, people who were gone. My mother, my father, Jean. I couldn't see them clearly, but I knew. The way you know someone's in the room before you turn around. You just know. And then I felt something else, a kind of review. Not judgment, nothing scary, just my life, playing back quietly like an old film reel. And what I noticed, what broke me completely open in those 4 minutes, was how much of it was ordinary. Not the big moments, not the promotions or the vacations or the milestones, the ordinary ones. Margaret laughing at something stupid I said in the car. Daniel falling asleep on my chest when he was 3 years old. Sunday mornings with nowhere to be. A kitchen that smelled like coffee and something baking. Those were the moments that played. Those were the ones that felt like this. This was the point. This was what it was all for. Not the career, not the house, not a single thing I stressed about on a Sunday night before a Monday morning. Just the small, warm, ordinary moments that I rushed through, that I was mentally somewhere else for, that I didn't even realize I was living until I was watching them replay from the other side. And then I heard Margaret's voice, not in the light, not in whatever that place was, from somewhere far away, urgent, scared. She had come home early from her sister's, found me on the floor, was on the phone with 911. I could hear her crying, saying my name over and over. Harold, Harold, please. Harold, stay with me. And I remember thinking, I have to go back. Not because I was afraid, but because she was calling me. And for the first time in years, I didn't want to be anywhere else. They restarted my heart 4 minutes and 18 seconds after it stopped. I woke up looking at a ceiling. And the first thing I said, the very first words out of my mouth, were not about the light, were not about what I saw. I looked at Margaret standing beside that hospital bed, eyes red, hands shaking, still wearing her coat. And I said, "I'm sorry I didn't take you dancing." She didn't understand what I meant. I'd never mentioned dancing before, but she had, years ago, early in our marriage. She used to say she wanted us to take ballroom dancing lessons someday. I always said, maybe later. Later never came. And lying there with tubes in my arm, that was the thing my heart chose to say first. Not "I love you," not "I was scared," just a quiet apology for a someday that never happened. Because somewhere in those 4 minutes, I finally understood the full weight of that word, someday. It's the most expensive word in the English language, and most of us spend our whole lives writing checks with it that we never get to cash. Margaret held my hand for a long time after that. Didn't say much, neither did I. We just stayed there together in that small hospital room. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I was completely present. Not thinking about tomorrow, not carrying yesterday, just there, with her, in that ordinary, fluorescent-lit, slightly too cold hospital room. And it was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. She passed 14 months later, and I have thought about that hospital room almost every single day since. Not with sadness exactly, with something heavier than sadness, with the knowledge that I almost missed it, that I almost left without saying it, that 4 minutes was all the warning I got. 4 minutes after a lifetime of not paying attention. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not advice exactly, just what I know now that I didn't know then. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not advice exactly, just what I know now that I didn't know then. The life you're living right now, this ordinary evening, this quiet Tuesday, this moment that feels unremarkable, this is it. This is the part you'll miss. Not the promotion you're chasing, not the vacation you're planning, not the version of life you keep telling yourself is coming after things settle down. This, the person in the next room, the voice you've been meaning to call, the conversation you keep postponing because the timing never feels perfect. This is the footage that we'll replay. I thought I had decades left. I had 22 months. Time doesn't announce itself when it's about to change everything. It doesn't send a warning. It doesn't clear its throat. It just keeps moving. Quietly, steadily, indifferently. And one morning you wake up and the person you kept saving things for isn't there anymore. And all those some days become a list of things that never happened. I don't want that for you. I don't want you sitting somewhere 30 years from now, whispering apologies in the empty air for dances you never took, for trips you never booked, for words you never said. Do it now. Call them. Take them dancing. Book the trip. Say the thing that feels awkward but true. Be present in the small moments, because those small moments are the whole thing. Death didn't show me fire. It didn't show me judgment. It showed me how beautiful ordinary life was, and how much of it I almost missed. Don't sleepwalk through yours. Please, wake up now before something wakes you up for you.